Storm is a monster.
It is catastrophic. Life-threatening storms, life-threatening water, and life-threatening wind across a broad area across the state of Florida.
Prior to the storm coming in, you sent, I think it's 15 people from Los Angeles, volunteers, to start pre-positioning. Is that right?
Yeah. So right now we've sent 20 volunteers from Los Angeles. These are trained Red Crossers who know how to stand up large shelters that can provide food, water, place to sleep, a hot shower, and really safety from this massive storm.
But these
right
15,
now,
how does this affect your with the storm in Florida and resources in Puerto Rico? How is this affecting the Red Cross?
Red Cross, we prepare year round so that we can respond to multiple massive responses. What we call storms by the level 1 to level 7. This is a level 7. We also have a concurrent level 7 disaster, meaning the scope of the response that we'll be providing. We have a responsibility that we can respond to multiple level 7s at one time, which is exactly what we're doing. We did this during Hurricane Maria, Hurricane Harvey, and Hurricane Irma, all simultaneous. And each region, the LA region, we will be deploying hundreds probably, but we will also retain volunteers and staff here that can respond if there were a disaster to hit Los Angeles.
And many of these people from Los Angeles that are going to Florida, they're going to need supplies. They're going to need help. So do your resources end up getting depleted when you have not one, but two disasters, because you have the Florida hit and then you have the Puerto Rico hit?
Yeah. So we have a massive warehouse system of supplies so that we never want to fully deplete any region. So we have national resources. In fact, before this storm made landfall, we had already sent over $2.5 million worth of supplies into the area, pre-positioned, so that we could have it available as soon as possible. And so, this is Red Cross has been around for 140 years. So we've been through these disasters. I really, frankly, can't think of any other organization that could have quickly stand up such a massive relief operation, as well as continuing the important day-to-day work that we're doing.
And the work continues, because this weekend here in Los Angeles, you're going to try to bring volunteers together to be trained to go to Florida, right? So tell me about that real quickly, and let's let everybody know exactly what does it take to be a volunteer, and what are you going to do to train them?
Yeah, this is the most important call we have right now for volunteers who are willing to come in for a brief training, and then we will transport you, fly you to Florida, and assign you to a shelter. You can be a shelter worker, helping these clients who in some cases have lost everything. It's a 2-week commitment, and you're really there. It is hands-on. They're helping make sure they're eating, they make sure they feel safe, make sure they feel that the community cares about them.
What are the qualifications?
The ability to take a 2-week time frame and nurture and care for those who need help. So
there are no physical requirements.
The ability to be in a shelter. These aren't hotels. They are maybe more austere. And they can be long days, they can be 12-hour days. But we provide you with all the training that you would need to be there. In fact, I previously was the CEO for the South Florida Red Cross. And when Hurricane Irma made landfall as a Category 5 years ago, it was volunteers that I remember meeting from Los Angeles who came there, brand new to the Red Cross, but they're like, I want to help. And they were able to provide that support, because what happens is the local volunteers, they're all hands on deck in Florida. They're going to be exhausted in a few weeks. So that's why it's really important. This is going to be weeks of sheltering, that we're bringing in more help, more staff, more volunteers to step in and help such a massive response as this.
A personal observation, you're from Florida, you have family there, you have friends there, you're worried about
I
them?
do. I do worry about them. This is a very difficult time watching this storm approach, knowing it's going to make landfall, not knowing where. Their loss of power during the storm itself, it is hours and hours of the worst thunderstorm you can imagine. It's dark, you're hiding in a interior room, not knowing what's happened, not knowing what you're going to see when the storm passes. And we also know, for like any disaster, the ones who bear the brunt are our most vulnerable, who live in maybe the trailer mobile homes, who live in areas with low line that floods easily, who may not have the resources to drive to another state or drive hours away to safety. So those are the ones that we worry about most, and trying to make sure that we're providing that shelter and reaching out to them and helping them on their recovery.
People who want to volunteer and give up 2 weeks of their time to go to Florida and help out, and people that just want to make donations, right? What do they do?
Yeah, a financial donation. The easiest way is redcross.org. You'll see there's a link there. You can support the relief operations that we have.
And
This is massive.
what about for the volunteer sessions?
Same thing. If you go to redcross.org, you'll put in Los Angeles, and we will have all of those dates. We're coming up this weekend. We've got in person at our downtown headquarters. We have virtual. If you can't make those sessions, still sign up and learn about this. Whether you can deploy now, it could be a month from now. But another way to think about it is the folks want to help. Financial donations, of course, volunteering to deploy, but also they could volunteer right here in Los Angeles, because we are going to be sending so many of our volunteers over to the East Coast of the United States to help. And so we're going to need our own volunteer support right here.
What about blood?
Blood, we've already pre-positioned supplies there in the state of Florida. And we will continue to need blood. Blood is a constant need for us, but especially when a disaster, we always want to pre-position as much as possible, and that's been done.
Will there be blood drives specifically for this hurricane's victims?
There will be blood drives that may support that. Really is, we want to make sure we're collecting blood that is going to go where it's needed most. So if there is a need in Florida, absolutely, it's going to drive it there. One of the things that Red Cross is a leader on is rare blood types. So we may, sometimes it's no matter where that blood type comes from, there's all kinds of rare types. We can transport it if someone needs it in Florida. That is one of our strengths there.
What is the bottom line?
Bottom line is our community needs help. The Red Cross is positioning itself to be there to help those in their darkest moments, but we can't do it alone. Find out how you can be a part of helping our communities. So we are now initiating what will be one of the most sweeping disaster relief operations in recent memory for American Red Cross.
Because of the hurricane.
Because of Hurricane Ian.
And it's a massive undertaking.
This is a massive response, the highest level response that the Red Cross has.
How many people do you need to have on the ground?
We need 1,700.
And how many do you have?
Right now, we've been able to deploy 500 who are on the ground, and we're going to need at least 1,200 more to fill those vital positions, to make sure we're providing food and we're water and we're opening shelters and we have logistics and we're providing all of the supplies that everyone is desperately in need of.
And the point you were making earlier was about you can't have a response without responders.
That's right. That's right. You cannot have response without responders. And so for us, a responder is volunteers who take some basic training, put on their Red Cross vest, and bring their compassion. We need their hands, we need their feet, we need their warmth. And because together we will be able to help this community during the absolute darkest time they've ever been through.
All right, good.